This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Perfect. Okay, and I'm just going to have for the, oh, and here's Karen. Okay, great. And then Mark disappeared, but I'm sure he'll be back. So I was just going to have, for easier transcribing, the folks who are not committee members, can you say your names? I guess I'll start with practically prepared.
Yeah, I know. I really need to change that, but I'll have to get a tech savvy kid to do it. Kathy Harrison.
Oh, fabulous. Hi. And then Emily?
Yes, I'm Emily, and Pedro is still working, so he'll be hopefully.
Awesome. And then I think the other number is that Christine.
Yeah, it's Christine and Liam. Hi.
Awesome. Okay, great. So we've got that, and I'll go ahead and, yeah, so meeting is called to order, and I'm just going to run through the agenda. Again, I'd love to keep it in an hour. Personally, I can't stay that much later than 8. So, well, I think we can do it. We did such a great job last time. And I'm wondering if, let's see. Hello, unknown. Did they? No, they're not. Okay, they're not actually in the call, so I'm not sure. Maybe I'll try again. There they are. Okay, unknown caller. Can you introduce yourself? Oh, yay. Hello, hello. Miss
Norman.
Himself. Muted, Norman. Maybe and frozen, perhaps. A little frozen. Okay. Well, when you get unmuted, you can say hello. There we go.
Thank you. Can you hear me? There's Norman.
Not really. It's really glitching out. I don't know. If you turn the video off, maybe the voice will come through, or I'm not sure.
Love Spectrum.
Sometimes that works. Yeah. Love a monopoly on the town. Okay, well, I'm just going to move forward for now. And I thought, again, maybe
Please do.
It might make sense, again, move the treasurer's report to the end, because that is going to be the bulk of the conversation, and then it will tie into, I think, some of the outreach reports about how many plots we have filled, etc. So I'm going to move outreach and treasurer report to the end. And so we'll just go operations, path maintenance, donation garden, pollinator garden, volunteer hours, and then treasurer's report and outreach reports, because that leads right into the continuing business. So let's go ahead and start with operations.
Hey, it's operations. Hi, I'm Frank, for those of you who are new. So operations, I was not able to get the mower and the trimmers up there. Just had issues with being able to get out of work on time to go do that. And I thought I'd be able to do it a couple of weeks ago, but couldn't. But this Saturday, I've already set up with my son to we'll go do all of that. There's not a whole lot else, although we had some chat going on in the email about things that we want to get. And Mark, you can chime in on this too. Just if we need any new tools or anything. And Karen brought up some more ear protection. I had a pair of ear protections up there. I brought them home for the winter, but I could take them back up there. But it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have another set up there. And then we talked about a new wheelbarrow. And then Ted brought up the idea of, Ted, what was it called again? The two-wheel one?
Just a two-wheel garden cart, you know.
Yeah, you had a
the
name.
gorilla. It's It's made out of a plastic poly,
Yeah, Pollywood. Yeah.
but it's lightweight and it's a little bit more stable. I know getting around some of our territory with a wheelbarrow that's full is.
Yeah, so I think we should. I'm all for that, and I sent photos of the ones that I don't want. We need something with some good sized tires too, because
I agree, Frank.
what's that?
Yes.
And I agree with the one that you displayed.
Yeah, that one looks better, doesn't it?
I think they'll be easier to move around too. They're not going to be so difficult. So.
Well, and the big wider tires will help if it's wet up there, because those narrow tires they just kind of sink in and.
Yeah, it's cumbersome in my experience.
Yeah. And Mark, was there anything else that in terms of new materials that we would need? I mean, we can also figure this out when we have the opening day and then talk about it in the next meeting as well.
Okay, I'll note that. That's a good idea.
Well, I think the suggestions were great. The issue will become the allocation of funds to purchase them, and then the procedure whereby we actually make these purchases, because I ran into some difficulties last year trying to get the hoses, because we were trying to charge it to the city account. And I think we need to review that process and procedure, and maybe even review it with Barbara LaBombard or someone at City Hall.
Is because what happened? You weren't able to just charge something to the account?
Well, no, they don't. We can't charge it. We don't have an account. The account would come through. Was it Department of Public Works or something? I forget what account.
Yeah, Public Works, and when the bill comes in, and they can split it out, as long as you mention community garden, the bill should come through with that, and Barbara knows how to split that out when the bill gets paid for the larger account.
The problem is that when you go to these places, and I experienced this at Tractor Supply, they want to know a contact name of somebody with the city, and you have to give it, and they have to okay that. Usually, fortunately, it did work out last summer, but it felt a little like, am I going to be able to get this through, or they got to get somebody at City Hall to give an official okay? I think we need to review that procedure with City Hall and make sure we're doing what needs to be done to make it efficacious. That's what I think.
Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Mark. Just so we know we're going there, and it's not going to be an issue.
No, we're not buying loam for our own personal lawn or anything.
Right.
Okay. Ted, do you feel comfortable emailing Barbara about that, or would you like me to, just to make sure we have our ducks in a row with?
Oh, I don't email. I'll go in and talk to her personally.
Okay, cool.
Because we still have things to pick up from her. But
great. Thanks, Ted.
I mean, the alternative would be to just get rid of Tractor Supply and see what Aubuchon can do for us and buy local.
Yeah.
Because we never have issues with Aubuchon.
No, it's just a matter of...
We seem more comfortable.
Our own purchase order there. We don't... The city set this up with Tractor Supply to sort of help us out rather than to create a whole separate account. Just do it under, what was it? Not the buildings and grounds. But in any case,
was it DPW or something? It was
Public Works, right?
Yeah. And then we need
we don't have that issue with Aubuchon. So depending upon the cost of the thing, and what you're looking for, Aubuchon might be able to order it at a similar price as a Tractor Supply, and we can forget about using. Tractor Supply was one step better than me having to set up something so we could order from Lowe's. And I think, in general, we were trying to get away from doing that and working with, and just try to work more locally with Fleury, with Aubuchon, so forth.
Great.
Yeah, Ted, when you talk to Barbara, find out who the contact person is at DPW if we're going to work through them. Can you do that?
Okay.
Okay.
If they ask us for a name, because occasionally, even at Aubuchon's, they would ask.
We know the name at Aubuchon's. We've been over this a million times. It's like they have two DPW contacts, and it's the male contact. That's our. I
Well,
always
let's get
forget the name, but let's not bother Barbara about it.
Well, Stephen, I would like to know the name, so I'm going to ask.
No,
Ted's
we
gonna
can get
go
the
in.
names, but not through I mean, the DPW would tell us.
well-
I mean, it's not. Barbara would have to find out from them, so it's not like something we should task her with.
Oh, okay.
Whatever it takes. I'm going to let Ted take the ball on this one.
So we'll go.
But
Yeah.
we've used that name
DPW.
a zillion times. Yeah.
Well, we have, but we don't have the names right now. You can't mention them, and I don't remember them either.
I know we get the name. We keep on getting the name and keep on forgetting the name.
Is it the same? Let's be sure.
Okay. So I
put the
I
name
will
to
find
Shed.
out the name
Yes,
of
over
the
in bold.
DPW contact person
Send it out.
at
We'll frame
Ford
it.
Tractor Supply. Yeah.
Perfect.
Tractor Supply or Aubuchon?
I think both. Maybe if we could get the names of every contact, but the issue
Oh.
was first with Tractor Supply. So
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes Tractor Supply has things that Aubuchon doesn't have, like
True.
the hoses. That's what
Yeah,
we found
I
last year.
see.
sure.
Does Aubuchon have to contact DPW? I didn't think we
Yes.
worked with DPW on that.
Yes, we do.
We don't have an account. It's their account.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe even finding out if there's other, I mean, just so we have this written down.
For Tractor Supply and Aubuchon. Okay.
Thanks, Ted. And just so everyone knows, I know I forgot to approve the minutes, so we'll do that after operations is done. I felt it. I was like, I've missed something. And then Eric was like, you did. And I was like, I just wrote it down. Operations continue.
I think I'm pretty much set right now.
Well, Mark, did you want to talk about compost a little bit?
Well, yeah, usually we order compost about this time of year, usually for delivery on opening day, which I guess is the first Saturday in May. Is that accurate?
Yes, we'll decide the official date in new business, but yeah.
And so the procedure has been usually in the last few years, we get it through Four Seasons, and we've been pretty happy with them. Their service delivery and their prices have been competitive. So I'm happy to take that on once again. What it means is once we find the price, I can get back to you. We would have a price per quarter cubic foot, I guess. That's what it is. A cubic yard. I forget.
That's yard.
Anyway, it's yard.
Yeah.
So we were getting 10 cubic yards, and that would seem to be enough unless somebody has another thought about us needing more. Let me know, and I will be happy to handle it. People can, once we get the procedure in operation, they can send me checks directly, and I will work with Four Seasons, make sure it happens.
Great. And then you'll
Mark-
coordinate with Margie about sending out an email to get people to correspond with you about paying for it and such.
Is that, you okay with that, Margie?
Yeah.
Okay, you and I will talk then.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, we might want to do 11 yards or a little more because we were talking about, Karen will talk about the pollinator garden, but we could finish filling up all the raised beds in the pollinator garden. And then we were going to do the thistle area and maybe have some containers there to grow for the donation. So we may want to go a little bit higher at the compost just to go ahead and get more material.
That makes sense, Frank, except they have basically two delivery schedules. One is for 10 cubic yards and one is for 5, and it has to do with the size of the truck. So I don't know that they could do 11, but if you have an alternative suggestion,
15.
I can run it by them.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, 15 then? Is that, do they do two
No.
trucks? Is that,
Two trucks.
Truck will only handle 10, right?
That's their larger truck, yeah. That's the way
I mean,
they work, but
gosh, it's such an affordable price. It seems like we should get it extra.
Oh, yeah.
But they would only do it in increments of 10. So,
well, they do, and there's a charge for the truck too. There's the compost itself per yard, and then there's the small charge for the truck to come out.
The delivery, yeah.
Delivery, exactly.
Okay. Well, we can
do we
move
want
on
to
with
see?
this and come back to it.
Okay, I was gonna say we could see, I guess, once you find out the price for 10 and how many people want to order, if we have extra that we can use towards the pollinator garden and stuff. And if not, since we have an account with what is it, Bear, that other compost place, Bear Path, we could maybe organize getting a nice like amount from them, because that would be cheaper for some of the other projects. So let's see how much we'll have left after everyone orders from the 10. And so I'll note that for next week.
Bear. Right. Okay.
Because
Mark,
it's 3 pollinator.
Say what, Frank?
No, you were going to say something, I think, about Bear Path or something.
No, I think you can go and get compost yourself from Bear Path. I did that one year, like took a couple of buckets with me. So if we wanted a small amount, you can run up to there if somebody's so inclined. And just to mention, but they are more expensive, definitely more expensive than Four Seasons.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll note that we'll touch base.
We have $65 left in the purchase order. Maybe we could do that for the
it might work out great just to use that. Yeah.
And
I feel like a truck, and I'm going to talk to the city about borrowing a truck for getting that debris behind the shed. So maybe, I don't know, they'd let us drive all the way to Bear Path or not, but I'll try to see what's up with that. Or maybe some of our new gardeners have a truck that we don't know about. Would be huge. Okay. Okay, awesome. Anything else for operations?
No, I don't have anything else.
So let's go back to the minutes from last month. Does anyone want a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Moved. Okay, great. Seconded. Fabulous. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And those are approved. That's awesome. All right. And so now we'll go down to and just because Margie showed up late, I moved outreach and treasure report to the end, since they're going to have more conversation, since it's related to like how much money we have and stuff. So I'm going to do it at the end, and we're just covering the other committees really fast. So next, path minutes.
I have nothing to report on the path maintenance. I'm going to check to see whether or not we've got any of the pathing paper, cardboard. Try to hunt down some cardboard this month so that we could lay that down in anticipation of the first garden work party. Haven't looked at the paths yet. Hopefully some of them are still intact from last year, so we won't have a lot to do from the get-go. But still, it's good to get on top of it as soon as we can.
Great. That's an awesome idea.
I saw a ton of cardboard in back of Walgreens in Northampton on King Street. They often have big packs of cardboard there. Just an FYI.
We need to create like a live map that we can ping where to find cardboard in this area. I feel like we all seem to have really good secret resources for it. All right. Fabulous. Okay, great. Anything else? All right. So next donation report. still, that's sort of tabled. We're going to look at the budget and decide how many raised grow bags we're going to do. No one so far has volunteered that they really want to run this project. So that's the update on the donation situation. I did actually get a great email from Christine about just sort of juggling how we could create maybe a new conversation about how to value how much cost we put into the donation plots to see if it's worth how much we get out of it to donate. Christine, did you want to speak on that more now, or we can kind of table this for next meeting?
It's just a suggestion for a basic cost benefit analysis, which is how much does it cost to do them, and what the marginal utility ends up being. Like how much does the community center benefit from it? It's a lot of work. The materials are expensive. It's a lot of work. And how much has it produced in the past? I don't know. Mark, you're the one that has been taking down coolers full of stuff. I don't know if it's worth it. You can get a 20-pound box of tomatoes at Mountain View Farm at high season for $15. Can we even produce 20 pounds of tomatoes to give to the community center? Would it make a difference? I don't know.
Well, that's good points, Christine. I think part of it was, the stuff we got from the donation garden, which admittedly was not a huge amount of produce. But also, it should be mentioned that part of our donation process has been to strongly encourage gardeners to contribute some of their abundance, assuming that they have some abundance of their garden, to the community center. And that's part of that cooler that we filled, was not just with it. And Stephen did a lot of this too, long before I was there. But along with people's contributions who actually have plots in the garden. And it would be lovely if everybody could contribute a little bit. I think it would be good. But you've got a point. Maybe the cost analysis. I don't know.
I'd like
maybe
to
somebody
know,
else has a perspective on that.
Just a straw poll. How much have the people who have been gardening there for, say, 5 years, how much have you donated to the community garden, if at all? A lot of them aren't able to do that.
Every year is different in my experience. One year, for example, I was able to donate quite a lot of kale every week. Big leaves, big bunches of kale. Last year was dreadful for everybody. There was almost nothing to donate. I want to say too that I think I want to also say that I think this new donation garden is worth a shot, because I think it's a great use of the thistle plot. It's great that we have somebody else in the old donation garden, and we might be very happily surprised by the results, especially if we have someone from the community taking over the donation. And if it doesn't work out and we have those raised beds, then that's a better use of the land than without the raised beds, and we can, in better conscience, offer it to someone in the community, because it won't be, there might be thistles coming up, but it looks like with that much couple of feet of earth, if judging by what Eric has in his garden, it might discourage the growth that we have now of thistle. So I think it's worth a shot. And then down the road, if we see it's not working out, we can do the cost analysis. But there was some years, I don't remember year by year, but some years where those coolers were pretty full.
Yeah. Do you remember like what?
Well, Christine, we do have
I don't remember.
records of like the weights. Stephen weighed everything that he brought, so we do have that noted. So we could include that in an analysis. Even if people can't recall right now, there is like records.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be a lot, a lot of research.
Yeah.
I mean, kale is like $2.99 a bunch in March, which is not high season. So kale takes a long time to grow. It does take care. And is it, how much is our kale when you factor in all the dirt, all the supplies, and the maintenance? That what sells at River Valley for $2.99 costs us probably $10 to produce. Is that worth it? And like I said,
I'm just gonna have Stephen go next because
it's just a thought. I mean, usually when people embark on a project, you see how much it's going to cost you and what kind of benefit you're going to get out of it. And it's not just us, for a feel good kind of thing to do, but it's like the community garden, what are they getting out of it? And I suggested, to give them money that they can buy below wholesale produce. It's just a thought.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea. It's a great idea. I'm just gonna have Stephen go next because he's had his hand up.
Okay.
Well, Christine, thank you for raising the question. And it is always at this meeting, right, that we go over this issue about when we're kicking off and whether the donation garden. For as Sarah just said, for a number of years we had a very small crew that actually managed the garden. Stuff was delivered, and as Sarah was saying, we tracked it. Weight. So while I don't disagree with you that it's not bad, kind of looking, at alternatives in terms of cost benefit, but in this instance, Christine, it's not about whether we're producing produce at X amount of X per unit or something like that. Because the reality is, let's just say it was $10 for every zucchini or something like that. The reality is that we're not going to collect from everybody or $10, whatever, to donate to the community thing. They want the produce. They get produce. They're not as compared to the money. So, but your point is well taken about what the relative cost is. If people were donating, if gardeners were just donating a very modest portion of, as Mark said, their abundance, and there's no cost really, to us, as an organization. And the other thing about it is that you get a lot more variety that we could conceivably do just by doing, like a singular or even 2 plots. I mean, there's only so much variety you can do. You do all 40, then all of a sudden it's a whole different thing. In any event, we had a very modest sized crew, and that basically the past, 4 or 5 years, Mark, would you say, has withered and withered. And frankly, it was Mark who took that on in the end, kind of, by his lonesome. And I would kind of do the delivery end, which I'm happy to continue doing, incidentally. But we can't really manage anything meaningful. To your point, Christine, it's not going to, it's been so modest, it's not really particularly meaningful compared to what it should do. Yeah. So we've had discussions in the past about whether gardeners should understand that as an expectation of being able to use a beautiful community garden at basically a very marginal cost, whatever it is we charge, that we would ask that people kind of contribute. And, it's a shame because we see each and every year, August rolls around, right? Some gardens have been abandoned, others, people are away, etc. And we see beautiful things that just go to waste. It's a terrible shame that we can't donate that under the theory that, well, we we can't appropriate other people's stuff. Yeah, we can appropriate other people's stuff if that's the bylaw agreement. If that's what a term and condition in which people get their gardens. That's what makes it meaningful for us to show the appreciation, as community gardens and as a community garden itself. So thank you so much for raising the issue. But that's where I'm coming from. I just think, we don't have someone lined up, and I think the reality is it's fallen on very few hands, mostly Mark.
Mark, had your hand raised?
I was following up on, Stephen had presented an important issue in past years, which was that there was some hope that by making contributions in the way we have, that this would put us in a good light with the city in terms of being able to maintain and have the garden space on an ongoing basis. I don't know if that's still relevant or not, Stephen. I don't know what you think, but there was some feeling that we did it as a way to have some visibility that we were, doing good things and contributing to the community, and that put us in a better light. I don't know how you feel about that now.
Well, when I make a delivery, as long as it's, a reasonable size, delivery, it's appreciated.
Yep.
They know where it came from. They know it's as fresh as can be because it's been very recently picked. And I watch, and people scoop it right up.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I feel like maybe we can expand on this next meeting a little bit more, because maybe we'll have more time and knowledge about our budget to say, and maybe it doesn't have to be a strict cost benefit analysis, but like using that framework and the framework of the cost and benefit being some more of these like less monetary cost benefits.
Intangibles.
Yeah, that we could just judge how many raised beds we want to buy the soil for, since we realized that was kind of going to be a bit of a hurdle for our budget. Maybe we can like figure out how much we're ready to invest in it this season, with the new way that we're doing it. So cool. So I'm going to table that and make sure we get a firm idea of how many grow bags we're going to use this year. And that's great, Stephen. I'm also going to mark that you're happy to do the delivery. That would be huge. And I think then getting stuff maintained will be a little easier. Great.
I think the most important thing is to find somebody that's in charge of that.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
I agree.
Without it, it's definitely not worth it.
Yeah. And even though we found this kind of loophole where it'll be easier to maintain, we still need someone in charge for sure.
No. If I could raise a related question, in the past, we kind of used donated coolers. One of them was mine. We could upgrade a little bit. I mean, it'd be nice to have a cooler that really kind of, maximizes its cooling ability, if we have the budget for it.
Okay, great. Okay, cooler. All right, I'll note that down as well. Great. Okay, so next is, volunteer hours. I don't think there's any updates there. More of that will, be updated, I'm sure. I think Deb probably will do what she did last year, where she got the paperwork from the city and went through it. Margie?
She sent me a link, and I just been waiting for after the meeting to send out.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Fab. I might just note, I'm going to email Deb to see if she's going to look at the applications like last year or not also. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Awesome. So now let's go to the treasurer's report.
Okay. Just looking at Treasurer's Report 1, as we voted on last meeting, the purchase order with my name so that we could purchase things through Lowe's. That has been canceled. That's done. So it's no longer visible. It's no longer shown here. And the money that was still in that purchase order was put back into the reserve fund. So that's that brought us back up to the 1538.56 in the reserve fund. And revenue to date from plot fees plus extra money that people have contributed. I took the $25 and anything that was over and above that amount, I considered as a donation. And the total we have received from plot fees and donations as of yesterday is $935. And we have had no expenses yet. So that's basically a statement of where we are as far as the financial report. Any questions?
Oh, yeah. Anticipated expenses. Usually we have this list of open purchase orders, which in my mind, again, this is a different budget format that I'm used to, means that we're committing that amount of money. And I guess based on last year, correct me, Ted, if I've got this wrong, we had $1,271.71 committed for expenses. Is that accurate, or am I misunderstanding that?
1271. That is what we have in purchase orders where we can make purchases from those vendors.
Right. So
and it will be paid and they'll be paid.
Right. So that
it
money
does not specify how the money is spent. It just says that's the money that can be spent with those vendors.
Right.
Such as Broadbrook Landscaping and Irrigation. We now have $315. We're going to have to pay them to turn the water on, get the water system working, and to turn it off again at the end of the season. So that money should cover our expenses there. It might still be a little bit more than we need to there, but there's some money open for Obashan. If you bought something for $100, we would be covered. This is just saying what we could spend.
Right, right. So in other words, if we spent all of that, it would amount to the 1271, which that was where I got confused in terms of a balanced budget, because with 935 coming in, that to me meant a deficit budget. But again, I don't know if we have more money, more revenue coming in.
Yeah, these are not budgeted expenses. These are just monies. At some point, somebody decided we need to buy something at Obashan. Let's open a purchase order. We'll put X number of dollars into it. And we just keep that purchase order open, and it carries over to the next year. That money is available to spend at Obashan. If we don't no longer want to spend at Obashan, we could cancel that out, put the $108 back into a reserve fund. So this is not budgeted money. It's just where we could spend that money right now for whatever we would want to spend money on.
Right. And those figures came up, I assume, based on actual expenses in previous years. Is that accurate or not? Where did they come up with these figures?
Not to the best of my knowledge, that has nothing to do with it. They open an account with a certain amount that they might want to spend money on, and then they drew down from it. And if they were running out of money and they still wanted to spend more at Obashan, we would add money to increase the amount available in the purchase order.
Yeah, it seems the figures are a little odd, like $108.03 or 256.77. I just don't know where they came up with these numbers originally, and I assume that they're historical at this point.
Well, maybe Obashan had $200 in it, and we spent everything except $108.03. So that's what's left in there from the original amount that was put in.
Oh,
Okay, so
that's why those amounts are like that.
Okay, so what's before us now is to reapprove these amounts for purchase orders for the upcoming year, or have they already been approved? Where are we at?
They don't need it.
This does not have to be approved. This is what's there. The only thing at this point, as we did the last meeting, we decided we're not going to do the purchase order with my name on it so that we could buy outside of one of these vendors, because we needed to get something from a different vendor. And it was difficult for this, to set up a purchase order, and we didn't want to, say with Lowe's. So this is what we have.
Right.
If you want to add money to one of these, we can add money. If you want to take away some of those purchase orders, we can get rid of them. Some people have thought, well, we haven't gone with Bear Path for a long time. There's $65 sitting in there, and we can eliminate the Bear Path purchase order if we're not going to use it. And somebody, well, we might be able to use it sometime, so why don't we leave the $65 there, and maybe we'll get to use it this year.
Well, this is
where I have the money sitting there in the.
Well, and then when we did, then we would look at our 900 and whatever budget and say, okay, so we're taking $20 out to go to Bear. That's where like our 900 comes in, is like how we apply it towards those different accounts.
Well, and if we spend all 1271 more than the 935, then we have to figure out where we're going to take that money from, which would probably be the quote reserve fund. This is just a very different way of budgeting. That's why I'm struggling with it and why I have to keep asking questions.
Well, I don't know. Did you get a copy of the budget, my proposed budget?
I got the one that Sarah just sent us. That's what I'm looking at.
And then the other,
I'm looking at what Sarah sent out.
I can resend the one from.
The thing I'm looking at is a statement of financial position. That's the treasurer's report.
Right.
Are you looking at?
That's what I'm looking at.
Statement of financial position. Yeah.
Yep. As of March 31st.
Okay. That is not the proposed budget. That's just where the money is, what's available from our purchase orders, how much we have in our reserve fund. That's the money that's available to spend. And I'm just reporting on the income that we've had from our plots and donations for this year so far, which brings our total amount in reserve funds and amount available through the purchase orders up to a total of $3,745.77. I did submit another proposed budget where we actually get into how we're going to spend the money. This is where we spend the money. And the other budget is going to show how we spend the money. We're going to spend it on building equipment. We're going to spend it on compost and soil. We're going to spend it on equipment repair, whatever. So I don't know if that went out. Do you have
I
that?
sent it last month, but I didn't send it again this month. But I just put a link in the message with the proposed budget. So
the one you just sent out, that's the one I'm looking at. That's just the report. It's not the budget.
Yes, that's the budget that's the budget that's the budget report that we need to approve for this past month, right?
Okay,
Pasture.
maybe I should just
Pasture, garden.
state it separately. This is just a statement of financial position,
Okay.
where we stand, what money we have. Where we
Yeah,
have,
okay,
Oh, financial
and then
position.
there's a
Yeah.
separate
Sorry,
budget,
sorry.
which is, I mean, I could basically go over it and say that, I'm projecting in a proposed budget that we would have $1,100 in, income from garden plot fees and donations. We don't have all that money in yet. I was figuring that we still have at least 6 more plots, and I guess we'll have to go to Margie to find out. I think you might still have at least 7 plots that have not been paid for. Now, some people's names are, when I went through the list of plots that you sent out, Margie, which was great.
Yeah.
I checked off the people who have paid, and there are 2 open plots, and there are
Only one.
7 other plots that have names but have not received payment for as of yesterday.
That list needs to be updated again because daily Barbara keeps sending me names of people who have paid. Once I do my report, I'll give more details. And there's no open plot right now.
Okay. Then we have, we had 2 people who have paid and their names were not on the plots. So I assume those are plots that were filled. But I got 2 applications yesterday. I think, Frank, your 2 applications.
Yeah.
And those are the last ones I had that Barbara had yesterday afternoon. So that's all I have. And there were 7 names listed on the plot diagram that had not paid yet. So I was thinking that's $175 additional income. I figured we should be able to get at least $150 of that and maybe a little bit more in donation. But that we would have $1,100 of new income. And then I just set out a list of expenses by type of expenses. Basically to use up $1,100, and which means we would not have to go into any reserve funds. Doesn't mean we can't do that at some other time or adjust our budget to be one in which we're spending more than we take in. That would be up to us. I would not recommend it initially. But in my proposed budget, I'm putting in like $150 for building supplies to help out with the pollinator garden, raised beds. We might have to add to that in terms of, for supplies, if we are going to purchase raised beds for the donation garden. I'll put that under building materials. I have $200 for compost and soil. I thought that might be what we have to pay to help fill the raised beds in both the pollinator garden and the donation equipment. Let's see. I only put in $50 for equipment. If we're going to get a new wheelbarrow or whatever, we're going to have to increase that amount. I have $250 for equipment maintenance. I'm hoping that we come in somewhere around that when Frank gets the stuff up to Fleury. $30 for gasoline, $250 for irrigation services, $75 for plants. We cut back on that or $20 for shed keys, and $75 miscellaneous. All of these things we can talk about, and maybe at the next meeting, get some firm information about the cost of the equipment that we're looking for. The cost of raised beds for a donation garden, if we do that. The exact cost of the wood for the raised beds and the pollinator garden. And then we can have a better idea of how we're going to spend. And we can finalize a budget next meeting.
Ted, I just realized I didn't see that you sent me also an email with this updated proposed budget. So I didn't forward that to everyone. And I just added that to the link. I was still looking at the one you made last month. So I just sent that. Also because I didn't send everyone the March report. We'll approve that next meeting because I didn't send that in the email either. And I'm not seeing that in my email. So I'll coordinate with you after to make sure the March one we cover next meeting. Because I didn't let everyone look at it. So anyways, now in the messages is the updated proposed budget based on the new numbers. And I really should not, I had this great idea about how I was going to rewrite my list that made me miss a bunch of things. Karen, I'm so sorry. We did not do the pollinator garden. So we'll do that next. But Mark, you had a question.
No, it was just, I would like a copy of Ted's updated budget, and
Okay,
I'm not sure how, if you could send it via email, that would be best.
Yes,
for
let me
me.
just do that really quick too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Okay. But anyways, the one link is there, and my goodness. Okay, great. So, I'm sending this to people now, but, do people want to approve this in any way or have any discussion about, these numbers for now? The people who can see the link.
My intention would be to be helpful, to try to submit an updated budget report along with the actual statement of financial position overall. So that we can see as we're going through the year, as we're making expenditures, et cetera, how we're doing in relation to our budgeted amounts. And then you have, because it's really two different types of information.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So maybe what we can do for now is, I have a feeling Karen was going to do a lot of research. So I assume Karen probably has some more hard for us for the pollinator garden. And then Frank and Mark just got a bunch of people agreeing to get some equipment. So you guys will be able to bring numbers next meeting and the cooler. And then we can make sure it looks like we're still fitting within the proposed purchases for those different departments next meeting. And then decide if, based on the proposed budget, things seem like we need to shift some numbers around once we have more hard facts.
If everybody could get me their numbers or approximate costs before the next meeting, I can try to mold them into a revised proposed budget then.
Will do.
Cool. And for now, like looking at the sheet, I'm wondering if there is maybe a way to, I guess compost and soil would be the way to determine how many raised beds we can do for the donation garden. I think that's the one thing I'm not seeing how to like decide on with the budget, like how much room in the budget we have for that.
Well, we'll have to know what the cost of the
each bag is
of the compost is.
Okay.
Because whatever was used by the donation of pollinator gardens was reimbursed to Mark from our funds. So.
Okay, so I'll do the research for how much each grow bag will cost and get that to you for next meeting. And then we can figure out how many we can afford to fill.
Now would we be getting those larger grow bags?
Yes, Eric was donating.
Yep. Those are already purchased. Those are being donated.
Yes,
Okay.
and there were
Thank you, Eric.
a lot of them. I can't remember.
6.
Yeah. 6, yes.
Wow. That's a lot of dirt.
Yeah. So we might not use all of them yet. We'll have to see.
No, that was the idea behind ordering more compost. It would just be cheaper than buying bags of dirt for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Great. Sorry that was confusing and I sent out the wrong chart, or not all of the charts. But I'm going to table this one. Okay. Is there anything else finance wise, or should we see how much the pollinator, what work Karen's done here, and then do outreach? Is that comfortable?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Karen, go for it.
Okay, so I did contact Flurries. So we had used Douglas fir from Lowe's, and Flurries isn't getting Douglas fir at this time, but the fellow told me that spruce should hold up as well. So for 8 foot by 9 1/4 inch wide by 2 inch thick, each of those boards is $12.50. We'd need 9 boards to set up again 3 raised beds on the other side, and that would come up to $112.50 and maybe tax. And I think we need another box of deck nails. And then the dirt, which I think Ted has already roughly estimated in his calculations.
So we definitely have the $112.50.
Okay, good. And
Plus-
and deck nails.
Now you're getting 2x10s, not 2x8s.
No, it's 8 feet long. It's just a little wider than the ones we got from Lowe's. The ones from Lowe's were 8 feet by 8 inches by 2 inches. These are 8 feet, technically called 10 inch by 2 inch, but it's really 9 1/4 by 1 1/2. But
Yeah.
it's just basically the same size.
Yeah,
And
you're
those
getting 2x10s, not 2x8s. So that's fine.
2 by 8s. They're 2 by 8. The 10 inches is the width. The 8 feet is the length.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. They're going to be the same size when they're built as the ones on the other side.
Now, did they give you a price on a 4x4? Just
Oh, the 4x4. Oh, those little blocks.
Yep.
No, sorry. I can I can give you some wood. I mean, I sometimes get wood from the Florence Casket Company. They have a barrel out back of wood left over from the coffins, and you can just go and get it. So if that would help, I mean,
Well,
I can get a bag of that and bring it over.
I was figuring it's going to cost you probably at least $130 for the wood. We could probably order a 4x4, at least one to begin with, and that would give us enough for
the corners.
For the
So it'd
corners.
be, 12 corners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can
You
go
might-
back and ask them that. 4x4 board. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have to get two if they're going to be 9 inches. Yeah. It would be close. Well, get one. We can work on it. We can skimp a little on that and make sure we make them fit.
Okay. Yeah. I'll call them tomorrow and ask.
Perfect.
So
I love that.
So,
We're coming in under budget. That's awesome. It sounds
So
Oh no, Karen, I feel like you went quiet. I'm not sure. It doesn't say you're on mute.
oh no.
Oh, there you go.
That for now, that's all I have. Somebody emailed me wanting to help out, so I told her if she wants to help build the raised beds, that would be great. That would be another hand getting that done.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. That's fabulous. And cool. Okay. Then let's just go to outreach then.
Oh, okay. I
sorry.
don't want to forget.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget this before we leave, because we're getting over 8. But we are going to mention surveying the garden, right?
Yes, that's in the old business once we get through the committee updates. Yeah.
Okay. And so then I have another question is, so when the time comes, then we would just go to Flurry's and tell them what?
That we have a purchase order through, I guess we'll need to find out, is it through us or is it through the Department of?
yeah, we have to do it. I'll get the information on that for you.
Okay.
He's adding it to the list. Ted's got a big list.
That's why we pay him the big bucks.
That's right.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I wonder, we should see how much they charge for delivery. A lot of these folks in town.
They
We
do.
can-
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up in dribs and drabs if
Okay.
necessary, because I probably will, I'll bring a couple home so I can cut them.
Okay, cool.
Because you're going to have some 4-foot sections that you want. I
Right.
assume.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Flurry. I don't think Flurry charges to deliver. Once you make the purchase, they deliver. Yeah,
they free delivery?
yeah, I'm pretty sure. I when we built the deck here, they brought the wood here for. They didn't charge me.
Okay, if they bring the wood to the garden, I can pick up a couple and bring them and get them cut for you easily.
Okay.
Great. Awesome. Okay, cool. And so now outreach.
Hello. First off, there's a name up here, Emily Diaz-Lore. Emily, are you still there?
So that's oh my gosh.
Is that Pedro?
Emily is with Pedro, yes.
Hi,
We were just using
Pedro.
her account to join the meeting. Sorry.
Okay, I didn't know if anyone had acknowledged you because I missed the beginning and I wanted to say hi and welcome.
We
So-
were acknowledged. But thank you.
I couldn't get on. My computer kept telling me I wasn't connected, and I was. So I had a few minutes to figure something out. So meanwhile, all our plots are full. We have 3 brand new gardeners, including Pedro and Emily. Well, that's 4 with Emily, and 3 new plots filled, actually. And we have 2 people who joined at the end of the season, and as we did the year before, they were told they didn't have to pay until this spring. And one of them is not able to pay because she's out of town, but she will pay when she returns at the end of April. There are, so that's 5 plots that have not been paid for. 4 are returning gardeners. 3, I don't even know if they're going to return. 1 I know about, but I haven't received notice that he's paid. And then we have 1 person on the waiting list who is also willing to take half a plot. So once I have put out a few reminders to the people I haven't heard from, and I'm not sure how long we're supposed to wait before we offer a person on the waiting list a plot. It's only a few days past the deadline, which was April 1st. So I'm thinking maybe wait till the middle of April or something like that.
I mean, you haven't even gotten an email from them, though?
No, nothing. Not any indication that they're returning.
Do we want to say, maybe we could say after April 15th, if you want to email them and say if they don't get back to you by April 15th, they're forfeiting their plot.
Yes. Yeah, give them a deadline. That's only fair.
And one of them, her name is Jane. She's in A5. She is definitely returning, and she will definitely pay when she gets back. She's abroad, so she tried to pay, but when she brought her payment to town hall, they were closed. She might have had cash, which might be why she didn't put it in the drop box. I don't have much more right now since we're just beginning. Any questions? I just sent out the link to the latest table.
Great.
Stephen,
Yeah, Stephen?
do you have a question?
Yeah, just so we're clear about my status, I had said that I would retain a plot only if we didn't have enough people. It sounds like we got 1 person on a waiting list. Is that right, Margie?
Yep.
Well, then that person, I know that they were looking only for a half lot, but they're welcome to mine B11. It also sounds as if there are at least 3 plots that we are still waiting to hear something from. We haven't heard back from them. Not all of them will probably come back in. So it looks pretty clear that I think we need to build up the waiting list again, which is fine. And I think we ought to kind of get the word out a little bit, because the reality is, as you pointed out, Margie, there are going to be people going to come in later in the year, taking over abandoned things and coming in. I think it's a good policy of ours to say, great, come on in. And, we'll pick you up next year, you can pay and everything else. So for that reason, we really need to get some folks on a waiting list, so that we can manage this and not have abandoned plots that have the effect of just throwing out a lot of weeds.
I need a little clarification, Stephen. So are you willing to give up your plot for the person on the waiting list?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I find that a little bit sad.
Please don't leave, Stephen.
Yeah.
No, it's not that I'm not. In fact, as I mentioned before, because in terms of the community, the distribution to the community center, etc. I'm happy to keep on doing that, etc. It's just that I've had that plot for X number of years, and I'd rather someone new come in. I'm going to be going back, but unless a miracle has occurred, I'm going to have to pull a lot of raspberries. So the reality is, it's almost starting from scratch on that thing. So why not have a new person do it?
What about half? Would you want to do half a plot?
If they only want to do half, that's up to them.
They're willing to take half if there's half available, but they won't take the whole thing if the whole thing was available. So it's kind of up to you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, half, getting someone in is fine. If for whatever reason, by the time we actually get to the planting part, someone else has just a half plot and someone else wanted a full plot and prefers, mine, that's fine too. So let's see. Half a plot usually has been a great way to get people in, right? Then they feel like they're not taking on too much.
Well, this person will take half or a whole, and I think so. I kind of need you to decide.
No, then have them take a whole.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
And you are in what's your plot number?
B11. B11. Good plot.
All right, I will let her know.
And then Kathy had a question.
Yes, I've taken over the seed library at Emily Williston Library. And if you had, any sort of a flyer or something, I could up down there. I'm doing a workshop on the 20th on growing potatoes in containers. And I'm expecting, I think they're going to restrict it to maybe 20 people, but I have like 50 people who expressed an interest. So, if you want to put something up on a table on the 20th, if you're looking for people to be on a waiting list, that would work too.
Eric, do you already have one that...
Wait, I don't understand. Can you clarify what you're saying, Kathy, please?
Yes. So I've taken over the seed library at Emily Williston Library. And if you want to put up a flyer or something, if you're interested in expanding the waiting list or giving people information about the community garden, you could, I have a wall, I can put up flyers and things. And on the 20th, I'm doing a workshop on growing potatoes in containers at the library. And I could also put something, I'll have a table up there with, information, whatever. And I would be happy to put up something about the library, about the community garden if you'd like.
Would you like me to send, to include your workshop in the email I usually send after the meetings?
Sure.
Eric, do you have a flyer that you share that you could send to Kathy to hang up? Or do you have I feel like there was something on Facebook.
I don't have a specific one, but I could make one.
Do you have time?
Depends on how good you want it.
No, it can be very simple. Yeah.
Eric's a pro. He's talented.
Yeah.
And before I forget, I just want to, the Neary School was interested in being on the wait list for a plot to have the students work a plot. We can put them on the wait list and maybe talk about that another day. The Neary School, they're in Easthampton.
Can you spell that, please?
Yes, Neri. I think it stands for something Research Institute.
Do you have an email for them?
I can get you one. I was just a couple teachers talked to me about it, and one of the teachers is already a gardener here, Sarah Smith. So her email would work well.
I haven't heard anything from her. She's returning.
Her partner is Skylar, and Skylar is dropping the application off tomorrow.
They have not let me know if they're returning or not.
Okay. Skylar emailed me and said he was dropping off the application tomorrow because you had reached out to him.
They're closed tomorrow.
Yes.
They're closed on Fridays.
Well, I can, if you want to note him as pending then, but he did email me that he's dropping it off.
If he's returning, I will note that he's returning, and I note paid when I hear from Barbara. Barbara used to send me applications, Now she just sends me names. So
Okay,
once
great.
I get notice from Barbara that a person has paid, I mark them as paid.
Great. And and you've added, if you want, I can forward you Sarah's email for the Neary plot wait list.
Oh yeah, the Neary school would be good to have there. I can email Sarah and ask her myself.
Okay, cool. Whichever is, I don't know if you still have her email.
I have it.
Okay, great. Then that would,
I sent.
great. Great. Stephen, you had your hand up.
I did. I don't know if Kathy's still on our call, but it's fantastic. I would just get a bunch of applications that she can bring with her on the 20th, because by then, first of all, we will have heard hopefully from those other folks that we haven't heard from if we give them the 15th as a deadline. So we should have a much better understanding of what's available. But more importantly, that's probably as good a population to promote the garden than anything I can think of that's putting up a flyer somewhere. So let's get her some apps. I suspect that people might be very interested in that. So we should be able to do that, I think, right? I mean, we've got the application. We can at least get it to her electronically if she doesn't have it, and have her print out some.
That's a great idea. And I can email her those.
Does the Neary school want one plot to
yes, just one.
Introduce students to gardening?
Yes, it would probably be, Sarah could probably give you more details, but it would probably be a class that would do field trips to like work on the plot.
I'm wondering if they would like a donation plot, if we don't have any other openings.
Maybe, and tell them it would be the grow bags and stuff. Or, oh, you mean just to donate it?
No, with the grow bags. If there's no
that's a great idea.
plot, maybe they'd like to come and work in a donation plot. And that way we have more guaranteed produce to donate.
That's a great idea. I would totally ask them if they're interested in that, because that would be really cool. And lower maintenance for them. Oh, yeah, Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea, but we should probably recognize that, it's a school, right? So what happens during the summer?
They are in school over the summer. It's an all year.
Oh, they're in school over the summer. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's a real what school is. So yeah, it is.
I think it's the school over there just off East Street.
Yes, up the bike path.
We used to play pickleball over there. Yeah.
Nice.
So I think they come from all over, not just Easthampton.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I know what school that is. Yeah, that's for kids with behavioral health issues too.
Yes.
Because I once applied for a job there with no experience, and they offered me the director's position, and I was like, "Whoa, I must be desperate." I didn't take it.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
My gosh. Awesome. Well, that's great, and I'll make sure Kathy gets those applications for the seed library presentation. Any other outreach? Oh, sorry.
I have a copy of the application. I can make some up. Louise volunteers at the library on Friday mornings. I don't know if Kathy's going to be there.
Perfect.
I could give her, run off half dozen or so applications.
But make sure you include the garden practices and rules, because we have a section on the application where you sign to attest to the fact that you've read that. And what I realized is we were asking people to sign something we were not sending. So I've been
also on the city website now too. I don't know if I told you that before. Yeah. So they can see it there.
I've been telling people that we're in the process of updating this, because one person said, "Oh, I want to bring my dog," and that this list of garden practices says no pets. But I guess we're not going to talk about that this evening, but we need to be updating that to be a little more realistic, because if people want to bring their dogs, not including you, Frank, Because I think we just need to tell them that they need to be on a leash. They can't be running wild through the garden.
Oh, no,
I totally agree. I'm just gonna say, can we table this and finish outreach before we start talking about it?
As long as we're in process, because that is actually part of outreach, because I'm sending that to people with applications. So I need them to know that it's being updated, that this is what we have.
Yes, and if you want to let people know that it's constantly being updated, like last year I updated it every time we talked about new plants that we were not allowing. So, and then we updated it at the beginning of the season last year as well with some wording issues. And then we updated it again after figuring out the plot boundaries. So we're, and maybe next meeting we can, everyone look at it and we can really make sure all of that stuff is updated in the way we want it to be.
So if I'm getting applications to Kathy, some applications, if I can get them to her tomorrow or as soon as I can, I will have 3 pages. The 2 pages of the application that they sign on the back, and then the additional page of rules.
Yes, and I can send you that one too.
I have everything.
I've sent it to everybody. I send updated applications and garden practices to everybody.
Perfect.
I'm done. Thank you.
Great. Sorry, I was just trying to open the guidelines. Okay, great. Awesome. Great. Did Eric, did you have any outreach updates as well? Maybe?
Nope. Okay. Nope. I remembered to post the event this month for the meeting.
Cool.
What event?
For the meeting.
Oh.
Great. So any other gardener feedback before we move on to old business for me to add to any of these things, any of these sections? Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. So old business first, about plotting the maps. I've been emailing Daniel all month and he just got back to me that he was on vacation and said he would be emailing you guys soon. Has he emailed you? No. Cool. I'm going to send him another email. Cool. Great.
Sarah? I had volunteered to, when you sent out the list of names, I was not on it, so I didn't know.
Oh, what? What? That's so embarrassing. Because I typed your name in there, I'm pretty sure, so I'll make sure and CC you. Sorry.
Not a problem.
All right. But it was just the 3 of you guys, right? It was Karen, Frank, and Ted, right? Okay. Awesome. Do we want to talk about the updating the dog policy on the guidelines, or do you want to table this discussion for next time? Anyone feeling compelled to talk about it right now?
No.
Cool. All right. We'll talk about that more next. Compost updates. The person who I'm working with to get the compost operation reset is still working on our plan. Anybody have compost dreams from last time about anyone reflect on how many inches of compost we want to be able to lay over the plot every year? Any input on that? Cool. All right, we'll talk about that more next time. And so now to new business, we just need to figure out our opening work day.
Is that when you say work day, that means the day that the gardens are open for cultivation too, correct?
Yes, yes.
So
I'm looking at May 4th. That's
we'll have one more meeting before then too. So if we have anything that we need to plan last minute, we'll still have one more in there.
So
yes, and then I guess we should decide separately if usually we have like the all gardeners committee meeting So that would be, I was going to say May 2nd, but we could push that if we wanted to have it be after.
What do you mean, old, you said old garden?
We have where we say it's mandatory for all the gardeners to come to this committee meeting.
I would probably do that on the 2nd.
Okay.
Because if then we push it all the way to June, and that's too late. I mean, usually we do the opening day the last weekend in April, but everything is so early in May, it's okay.
The first Saturday in May is what we did last year for opening day, I believe. And that's works good for me. I think the sooner we can get into the gardens, the better. Now, of course, we need water. Soon the water will be turned on by then.
Ted or Stephen, who is in communication with turning the water on? Do we?
I will do that. But I was just going to.
And then you also have a question.
I was going to second Frank's motion, which is to hold the all gardeners meeting on our next one, May 2nd, because because by then, hopefully, everything's been straightened out with plots, and you can get a confirmation about how many folks are going to be in on the compost, so that we can kind of run that, smoothly. So I think it's a good idea to have that organization meeting before we kick off.
Awesome.
Okay.
So I'm going to move to have our all gardeners meeting, committee meeting, be May 2nd, Thursday, 7 p.m. And then our opening garden day, opening work day, May 4th.
Time? What time?
I realized that. Does anyone second that? And then we'll come up with a time.
I second it.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Fabulous. Great. Thank you. What time for the work day?
Don't we usually do morning shifts and afternoon shifts?
Yes, that is what we did last year.
I can be there for an afternoon shift.
Okay. So did we have it start at 9 last time or 10?
Depends on what people want to do.
Oh, let's do 9, and then people can drift in as they wish.
So 9 to 12, and then 12 to 3. Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Give me something to do before then, because I can't be there on the 4th.
Oh no! I was going to say we could work on the raised beds, but we can't do that without Ted. So.
My cousin is celebrating 60 years as a nun.
Oh, wow.
I have 2 cousins.
That's an accomplishment.
And
that's crazy.
One of them, so I have to go to Scranton on Saturday.
Okay.
And Sunday.
Well, that's devastating. I hope the party's a real raider. I feel like.
All those nuns, yeah.
Are they beer drinking nuns?
Stephen, sorry, you have your hand raised.
Yeah. Sarah, when you mentioned starting time, 9 or 10, I think what we've kind of done more recently is we've started at 9 for those folks who may not actually have their plot situated yet. I mean, hopefully they pay whatever, but so you give them a little time and get those plots in, and then everyone else is kind of coming in at 10.
Cool. Okay, I'll send the new gardeners that. That sounds like a great idea.
Well, everybody's pretty situated.
Well, I'll see. I'll at least just make sure I'm there if some new gardeners are needing help, and we can set aside, some orientation time for sure.
And getting it right, orientation, get a key, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'll be there to get the compost delivery to receive that. So FYI.
Okay, awesome. Fabulous.
Yeah, Mark, and hopefully it's dry.
Exactly. We don't want any vehicles getting stuck in the mud.
Let the conscious, please not a repeat of last year. Oh my God.
Man. Okay, great. Well, since we declared it can't be wet, I think, the weather we just decided at a meeting, so I'm sure it'll respond in due kind. Awesome. Any other?
Last year was good. It was the year before that was horrible.
Yeah, last year didn't get wet till later in the summer, and then
it was great.
Last year was devastating in July. It's like it was so wet.
Terrible.
It's pretty boggy right now.
Yeah, it is. I was up there the other day.
I don't know, folks. Say your
It's
prayers.
not too. I will say this: it is not too early to start weeding.
Yeah,
there you go.
Indeed.
They're there already.
Waiting.
The other thing too, because we're going to be back in the 60s, and I think we're going to hit 70 maybe next Thursday, is the ticks are out, and they are out like in a bad way. And they're the little tiny deer ticks. So if you all are up there, just make sure you check yourselves. I got to go get a haircut just because of that.
Sorry, just a second. Okay. I am having to go. Does anyone have any more?
Yeah, I got to go.
Comments, concerns, things I should definitely put on the agenda for next time?
Well, you have the rules and the garden practices on the agenda.
Yes. And I will make sure that we put that at the front because we haven't talked about it in the last 3 meetings. So, okay. Awesome.
That sounds good. That's enough.
Great. Okay. I'm going to motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, great. I'll see you guys soon.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.